Death to the Arabs. I heard those words when I was 10 years old, and they still echo in my mind. I'm shocked and disgusted hearing them now and letting them roll on my tongue, but I'm going to say that again. Death to the Arabs. I'm not saying that to shake you up, but because I feel I need to understand what triggered these words. Death to the Arabs. I need to understand because when I heard them as a kid, they were actually coming from my own mouth. And I was not ashamed of it until years later. I was born in Israel. My mother is a school teacher. My dad is a social worker, both quite liberal. I grew up in a small suburban town, not too far from the golden beaches of the Mediterranean Sea and Tel Aviv. All in all, rather far from the immediate line of conflict with our Arab neighbors, the Palestinians. Actually, I didn't meet any Arabs at the time I wished for the death of all of them. So how does a 10 years old from such a mainstream background end up saying something so extreme? Well, there are about 12 million people in Israel and the territories called the West Bank and Gaza, or Palestine. The size of the area altogether is about that of New Jersey. And there's been conflict over them for years. I was born into that conflict, and everyone I know was born into it too. Most people know the other side of the conflict through the acts of terror and violence that are carried out by a few. I remember not wanting to go on a bus because one of the passengers might be a suicide bomber. I remember hesitating before entering a stairwell because some teenager in a nearby city was stabbed there by a Palestinian on her way home. And even though I wasn't directly hurt by such attacks, I heard about them all the time. Now, I was terrorized. And people who are terrorized begin speaking the language of terror, fear, mistrust, and the desire for violent retribution. It happens on both sides. And although I was saying death to the Arabs at 10, I was far from being political then. I grew up loving philosophy and music, and just accepted the background noises of conflict as a given. I met Palestinians for the first time in my life when I was 17, and I was invited to play in a Jewish Arab orchestra. As we exchanged musical notes, we gradually also began exchanging smiles and finally moved on to words. And it struck me then that if we can harmonize our melodies, maybe we can also harmonize the bigger issues that have been killing people, or rather, people have been killing each other over them for so many years. Following my time in high school, I had to complete 3 years in the army, which is compulsory in Israel. And after that time, I was excited for the opportunity as a student activist to join the One Voice movement. One Voice has Israelis and Palestinians working in parallel to amplify the voices of moderates on both sides towards peace, and to drown out the extreme minorities that exist in both societies. We operate in campuses, in schools, on social media, and also in the Knesset, which is our version of Congress. And we do that to pressure the leaders on both sides to work towards a solution and remind them how peace would help save lives, improve the economy, our foreign relations. One of the things that still personally motivates me, though, is the desire to save more people from being caught up in terror. Physical terror, but also terror as a state of mind. So I want to leave you with that thought, because whether you care a lot for the Middle East conflict or not, I believe that there is a truth there for you to take wherever you go, with whatever interpersonal conflicts you may encounter. And I do also invite you to learn more and dare engage in the conversation to amplify the voices of Israeli and Palestinian moderates and to drown out those extremists. If you do join us, if you like One Voice movement on Facebook, take out your smartphones later, and if you write to us by email, you'll be joining an amazing network of supporters including Brad Pitt, Natalie Portman, Paul McCartney, myself, and Christina, who used to study here and is now working with me. Really, guys, before we break into some short discussion in the minutes we still have left, I would really like to emphasize that those who oppose peace are indeed a minority. I can promise you that. But they're a very loud minority, and therefore we need everyone's voices, yours too, to help spread the word. Thank you.